Hello friends, in this lecture we discuss about the introduction to transducers. These are the contents of this lecture. The learning objectives are discuss about the feedback system, function of the transducers used in the feedback system or the closed loop system, classification of transducers and the characteristics or the requirement of the transducer. Okay. So at the end of this lecture, you should able to describe what is a closed loop system or what is a feedback used in the industrial process. The functions of transducer, you should be able to classify the transducer, and based on these characteristics, you can select the proper transducer for your operation. So we start with the process control using a reactor tank. This is used in the pharmaceutical industry to mix the different components for the liquid medicine. Okay. So these are two different material input pipelines are there with the control valve, and this liquid is mixed and it is heated to a certain temperature. To heat this liquid, a steam jacket or the reactor is used with the steam jacket. The steam is entered from one side, okay, and it is exit from the other side, okay, so that because of this steam flow in this jacket, okay, so this liquid is get heated, and the temperature of this liquid is measured by using the temperature sensor. And for this process, we have set some temperature in the process, that is called as a set point, and the actual temperature of this liquid is used as a feedback from this temperature sensor, and based on this actual temperature and the set point, they are compared, and accordingly the error signal is generated, and this error signal is given to the controller, and based on the temperature of this liquid, this controller will open or close the steam valve, or it will control the opening of this valve in terms of percentage, 10, 20, 50, 75, 80. So as the temperature is less, okay, to increase the temperature of this liquid to the set point, so this valve opening is increased, okay, and as the temperature of this liquid is near to the set point, okay, so as the temperature is increasing and it is coming to the near to the set point, so the opening of this valve is decreasing. So this is the example of process or the reactor tank for the controlling of temperature, and this is the closed loop diagram, okay, used in the control system. So this is a set point, this is a summing point, okay, so where the set point and the actual process variable is controlled, okay, and the error signal is given to the controller, and based on that this controller will generate the control variable, okay, which is amplified and it is given to the process. Okay, so this control variable, it is given to the process. In this case, so this steam valve is a control element. Steam valve is a control element, and this control element will control the process. Okay, control the process. It will control the temperature of this liquid, and this process variable means the temperature, actual temperature of this liquid is measured by this temperature sensor and it is given as a feedback to the system. Okay, it is given as a feedback to the system. So in this way, for measurement of these various parameters, process parameters, so the devices they are used, okay, so they will measure the physical parameter and it will give signal to the controller. Okay. So this is the function of these sensors in the process. Okay. So again the detailed closed loop system is given here. Set point controller error. This error is amplified, which will give the controlled output. Then this is a final control element. Okay. So in our case, the control 1 is a final control element. Okay. This is a manipulated variable and it will control the process, which will control the temperature of the liquid. Okay. And control variable, process variable, they are measured by the sensors, okay, or the transducer, and the feedback is given to the this closed loop system. Okay, so this is a measured process variable signal or P. So there are various disturbances on the process. Okay, and because of these disturbances, your process system cannot be maintained at the set point. Okay, and there are changes in the process, and these changes they are measured by using the transducers or sensor. So there are two types of outputs of the transducers or the sensor: discrete on-off mode, okay, on-off mode, 0 and 1, or 0 and the maximum voltage level. Okay, so that is called as a discrete. Here off, at this instant your output is on, it remains on, and after this end it is off. Okay, so there are only two states, off and on. The second type of output of this feedback is a continuous or analog. Okay, so with respect to this time, with the change in the time or with the increment in the time, so your output changes continuously. It changes continuously. So at each instant, it will give the different readings based on the measured parameter by the sensor or by the transducer. Okay. So with respect to time, so there is a continuous, or there are different variable points, or there are different readings. So that is called as a continuous or analog mode. Okay. So these are the two outputs of the transducers or the sensor. So we'll see what is the transducer. What is the transducer? Okay. A transducer is any device that converts energy from one form to another. Okay. So this temperature is a one form of energy, and this temperature is converted into the another form that can be understood by the process, or that can be used in the process to compare with the set point. Okay. So we are comparing the same values. Okay. And based on that, the error signal is generated. Okay. So in the control system, so we use as a current or voltage, okay, as a output from the transducers. Okay. And here we set the temperature in terms of voltage. We get the output from the transducers in terms of voltage, and both voltages they are compared, and the error signal is generated as you studied in the school. Okay, so you add rupees, you add weight in terms of kilograms. Okay. you add liters. Okay. So means same quantity is required. So a transducer is any device that converts energy from one form to another form. Okay. So generally in the processes we are measuring temperature, we are measuring speed, we are measuring flow, and we are measuring pressure, we are measuring force, inclination, then intensity of light. Okay. So these are the various physical quantities we required to measure during the industrial processes. Okay. And this pressure, speed, or force, weight that cannot be used directly in the electrical circuit or in the closed loop system. Okay. So we need to convert these physical quantities into the electrical. Okay. So this is the function of the transducer. Next is a sensor. Sensors are transducers for detecting and often measuring the magnitude of something. So here we are measuring the temperature. So thermocouple is a device, that is called as a sensor, which senses the temperature. Okay, and it is fed to the signal conditioning device, and the output of the sensor is converted into electrical parameters. Okay, either in a voltage or current. So sensors are transducers, but transducers are not sensors. Transducer, they will not sense the physical quantity. Okay, so sensors are transducers, means they will sense, they will convert, or they will change the output of sensor into the electrical parameters. Okay. Then they convert mechanical, magnetic, thermal, optical, chemical variations into the electric voltages and currents. Sensors are usually categorized by what they measure, and they play an important role in modern manufacturing process. Okay, means we sense pressure, we sense flow, we sense temperature. So based on the different parameters, different quantities, they are categorized by what they measure. They provide the equivalent of our eyes, ears, nose and tongue. Okay. Means like we are having 5 organs. In the similar way, the electrical circuit, okay, in the closed loop system or in the automation, okay, these sensors, they play a very important role, okay, and they measure the various physical quantities, physical parameters, okay, and they convert by the transducers into the electrical signals, okay, and that electrical signals that can be understood by the microprocessor, and this microprocessor is act as a brain in the industrial automation system. Okay, so these sensors will sense these parameters, it convert into the electrical signal, and it sends to the processor, and this processor, based on the program algorithm set into the processor, so it works the system in the automation format, in the closed loop system. Okay, so these are the function of the transducer. The basic physical phenomena typically measured with sensors include: we measure angular and linear position. Linear position means displacement of the tool post. Okay, we measure the angular displacement. So the rotation of stepper motor. In the robotics, what degree the arm is rotated. Okay, so that is the angular position. Temperature. So the temperature of liquids, the temperature of job in the oven, in the heat treatment processes. We measure stress, strain, force. We measure sound, acceleration. Okay. We measure pressure, flow rates, light intensity. Okay. So these are the various parameters required for the measurement in the industrial automation process. So in the hydraulic press, so you are seeing the different shapes of the automobile parts. Okay. So the plain sheet metal is placed between the two dies in the hydraulic press, and these plates, they are pressed at the very high pressure. Okay. So during that time, this hydraulic ram move in the downward direction, which will act as a force or pressure on the die. Okay. So during that time, we required to measure the pressure, hydraulic pressure. Okay. So we required pressure gauge. So this is the various parameters we need to measure. Then a transducer is a device which transforms a non-electrical physical quantities into an electrical signal. Okay. So it converts the measurand to a usable electrical signal. Now we will see some example. Okay. So strain gauge. Strain gauge have a long thin wire attached to a foil backing which is glued to an object. When the object changes shape, the strain gauge also changes shape and its resistance changes. Okay. So this is the support, cemented support, okay, at one end, and on this strip the high resistance or resistive wires are connected, okay, or it is say pasted on this plate, okay, and the other end is free to bend, okay, other end is free to bend, okay. So when there is a force or there is a stress, okay, so this resistive wire, they are also get elongated, okay. So with this elongation of this finite resistive wire, okay, because of the tension, because of this stress, because of this force, the resistance of this wire is changes. Okay. This is the another. Okay. So there is one fixed part is there, and this is another moving part is there, and between these pins, fixed and movable pins, these finite resistive wires are there. Okay. So when there is a linear displacement, so this R1, R4 elements, they are get elongated, and R2, R3 elements, they are get compressed. Okay. So based on that, the resistance of this wire is changed. And this resistance is used connected in the bridge form, okay, and from that, with the help of fixed supply in that bridge, so we can get the variable voltage, and this voltage is calibrated in terms of displacement. This voltage is calibrated in terms of stress or force. Okay. So in this way, this force, stress or linear displacement, with the help of change in the resistance of the wire, we can convert it into the electrical signal, and the scale of this voltage or is adjusted in such a way that we can get directly the displacement or the force on this. Okay. So in this way, this strain gauge is used for the measurement of stress or force or the linear displacement. The another example is antenna. Okay. Antenna is the most basic transducer that can be made from a simple piece of wire. It converts electromagnetic energy into electricity when it receives signal and does the opposite when it transmits. So, at the radio center, these electromagnetic waves, they are transmitted. Okay? They are transmitted through the say your transmitter. Okay, and these electromagnetic waves at the particular frequency kilohertz, okay, they are transmitted, and we received at the radio antennas. We received at the radio antenna, and they are converted into the electrical signal. And this electrical signal in the radios or at the television, they are converted into the picture. They are converted into the sound. Okay, and again this electrical energy converted from this electromagnetic energy, it is displayed in terms of light. It is converted into the sound. Okay, by using speakers. So antenna is a transducer which convert electromagnetic energy into the electrical energy, and this electrical energy is converted in terms of light, in terms of picture, or in terms of sound. Okay. Again, this microphone and speakers, okay, they convert the sound pressure wave into the electrical current, while speaker convert electrical current into sound pressure. Okay, so these are our day-to-day example. So we are using dish TV, D2H, video dish, or Tata Sky, Airtel. Okay, so the capture, okay, they receive this electromagnetic energy. They converted into the electrical energy. Okay, this electrical energy sent to the television set, and this television will convert it into the picture. Okay, it convert by using speaker into the sound, and we can see the cricket match. Okay, we can see the hockey match. So, or we can see live telecast. Likewise, there are many other applications used in our day-to-day life, used in the industry. So, once again, we see what is a transducer? Non-electrical input or physical quantity that is sensed by the sensing element. It is converted by using this transduction element into the electrical signal, into the electrical. Okay. So, transducer is a combination of sensors and the transduction element. So again, based on say your microprocessor, based on your say PLC, okay. So it is converted into the standard specific voltage or current. Okay. For PLC, it is converted into 0 to 10 volt. It is converted into plus minus 10 volt. It is converted into plus minus 20 milliampere or 4 to 20 milliampere. Okay. So in this way, these transducers, they work. Okay, they convert into non-electrical signal or physical quantity into the electrical signal. Okay. They are classified as active and passive transducers, primary and secondary transducer, analog and digital transducers on the basis of transduction principle, transducers and inverse transducers. Okay. So these are the classifications or the types of the transducers. Okay. Now we see one by one. Active and passive transducer. Active transducer. Okay. So what is active transducer? So these transducers do not need any external source of power for their operation. So therefore they are also called as a self-generating type transducer. So when they will convert the physical quantity into the electrical signal. Okay. So by the properties of say material, okay, or based on the working principle of the sensors, okay, so they will generate the electrical signal. They will generate the electrical signal, or they will convert energy from one form to another form. Okay. So for the conversion of this physical quantity into the electrical one, or from one form of energy into the another form of energy, they didn't require, or they doesn't require any source, other energy source. Okay. The active transducers are self-generating devices which operate under the energy conversion principle. As the output of active transducers, we get an equivalent electrical output signal. Example, temperature or strain to electric potential without any external source of energy being used. Okay. So thermocouple or the thermopiles are the principle of operation. Okay. So an EMF is generated across the junction of two dissimilar metals. So what is a thermocouple? In thermocouple, two different metals or two dissimilar metals they are used. Okay. At one end they are connected together. So that the junction is formed, and when this junction is get heated at the other end or at the other free end of the these two dissimilar metal, the EMF is induced. Okay. So this is called as a active transducer, means the heat is converted in terms of electrical signal. Okay. So for that there is no need of any other source. Okay. And this principle is called as a Seebeck effect. So this thermocouple is work on the Seebeck effect, or this thermopile. Okay. Thermopile, it is a semiconductor, and P and N junction, P-N junctions are there. Okay. So when the current is flowing through this P-N junction, okay, so because of the heat, current is start flowing. Okay. And because of this heat flow across this junction, the current is a start flowing. Okay, current is start flowing. Second one is a moving coil generator. Okay. So this generator is used as a tacho generator for the measurement of speed. Okay. So as you know, in the generator, so there are permanent magnets. There is a rotor, and on the rotor the winding is placed. And when the current is cut by the magnetic field, and EMF is induced in the conductor. Okay. So this principle is used for the measurement of velocity, for the measurement of vibration. So these devices, they are called as a active transducer. Okay, though they there is no need for the conversion of one form of energy into the another form. So no external energy is required. So this is the example of thermocouple. Okay, so this is a metal A, metal B, and this junction is placed into the liquid. Okay, for measurement of temperature. So at this other end, so we get the voltage. As the temperature increases, the voltage generated across these two wires, it is one increase. Then there is a device called as a piezoelectric. So when we apply the force, on this crystalline material or piezoelectric crystal, okay, so the voltage is generated across the surface of the this crystalline material. So these active transducers, okay, so based on the principle, Okay, they are classified as thermoelectric, photovoltaic, electromagnetic, chemical, and piezoelectric. Okay, chemical, the example is dry cell. Okay, dry cell. Photovoltaic. Okay? Nowadays, solar panels, they are used to convert the solar energy into the electrical energy, and the photons from the solar rays, okay, they are converted into the electrical energy by using PN junction. Okay? So these are the various principles used for the conversion of one physical quantity into the electrical signal. Okay, so they are called as a active transducer. Passive transducer. So these transducers need external source of power for their operation. So they are not self-generating type. They are not self-generating type transducer. Okay. Generally, a DC power supply or an audio frequency generator is used as an external power source. Okay. So this transducer produces the output signal in the form of a variation in the resistance, capacitance, inductance, or some other electrical parameter in a response to the quantity to be measured. So strain gauge. So there is a change in the resistance. So this resistance, okay, is connected in the form of bridge. So there are 4 arms. So R1, R2, R3. These are the standard fixed resistances, and this finite resistive wire, this will act as a variable resistance, that is a R4, and the opposite ends, they are connected with the supply, DC supply, and another opposite ends, the galvanometer or the voltmeter is connected to measure the output voltage. Okay, and this output signal is connected or it is used in the control system, or it is used as a feedback system. Okay, so this is the passive type transducer. Strain gauge is a passive type transducer. Okay, so this resistance, there is a change in the resistance, but how we'll measure this change in the resistance? For that, we required a source. Okay. The another example is LVDT, linear variable differential transformer or transducer. Okay. So here there are 2 windings. This blue one is called as a primary winding, where the input supply is given, AC supply is given, and the secondary winding shown in this yellow box. Okay, so it is divided equally into the same number of turns. Okay, in this yellow portion, and there is one spindle which will connect with this primary and secondary winding, and based on the displacement of this plunger, okay, so the flux, magnetic flux linkages with this windings, they will change. Okay, and accordingly, with the change in the magnetic flux, the output voltage is generated, and this output voltage is converted in terms of displacement. Okay, whether there is a say outward movement or there is a inward movement. Okay, so based on that, the plus or minus voltage is generated. Okay, so for that measurement of displacement, we require the input, and based on these flux linkages between this primary and secondary coil, so output voltage is generated. Okay, so these devices, they required the external power source, so they are called as a passive transducer. The next is a primary and secondary type of transducer. Okay. So it is a primary transducer. The mechanical device convert the physical quantity to be measured into a mechanical signal. Okay? Mechanical signal. Such a mechanical device are called as a primary transducer because they deal with the physical quantity to be measured. Okay? So this is the example of the pressure measurement. This is the example of pressure measurement. So here the hydraulic liquid or the air is entered into this closed burden tube. Okay. So this is a elliptic in the shape. Okay. And one end the liquid or air is inserted. Okay. So where what quantity we have to measure. So in that particular pipeline, this end is connected, and the other end is free. And it is connected with this gearing mechanism. Okay. And at this gearing mechanism, pointer is there and scale is there. Okay. So when the liquid or air or gas is entered in this burden tube, so this burden tube is get expanded. This free end of this tube is get expanded. Okay. So with this expansion, so there is a movement. So there is a vertical movement at the other free end, which is connected with the lever. Okay. So when it moves in the upward direction, so this lever will move in the downward direction, and this lever is attached with this gear. Okay. So this gear will rotate in the angular position. So this scale, this pointer will move on this scale. Okay. And this scale is directly calibrated in terms of pressure. Okay. So this is the actual gauge, pressure gauge. Okay. So there is no need of electrical signal, only the physical quantity is converted by using the mechanical arrangement, by using the mechanical devices. Okay. Such a type of transducers, they are called as a primary transducer. So by means of mechanical arrangement, we measure the physical quantity. That arrangement is called as a primary transducer. So this is used for the measurement of pressure. They can be used for the measurement of displacement. Then next is a secondary transducer. The electrical device then convert this mechanical signal into a corresponding electrical signal. Okay. Such a electrical device are known as a secondary transducer. Okay. So the displacement of the free end of this burden tube. Okay. So it is connected with the movable plunger of this LVDT and linear variable differential transfer. So here the free end is connected with the plunger, and this plunger is moved in the LVDT or in the primary and secondary coil. Okay. So based on the linkage of flux with this primary and secondary winding. Okay. So electrical output at V1 is a generator. So we get the variable voltage output. Okay. And this voltage output is amplified and it is measured in terms of digital voltmeter. Okay. So directly this pressure in this burden tube of hydraulic oil or the hydraulic fluid or air pressure or gas pressure, directly we can get reading in terms of Newton per meter square. Okay. So here we have the electrical transducer LVDT, which uses the external source. Okay. For the conversion of this physical quantity, here the pressure is converted into displacement, and this displacement is converted into the electrical signal. Okay. So such a type of arrangement is called as a secondary transducer. This type of arrangement is called as a secondary transducer. The electrical device then convert this mechanical signal into corresponding electrical signal. Such a electrical device are known as a secondary transducer. Then based on the transduction principle, okay, transduction means there is a special type of conversion of energy from one form to another form. Okay, so that is called as a transduction. Okay. So based on this transduction principle, so these are the various transducers. Okay, so capacitive transducers, electromagnetic transduction, inductive transduction, piezoelectric transduction, photovoltaic transduction, photoconductive transduction. Okay, so these are the different types of transductions principle. Okay, by using this, the physical quantity is converted into the electrical signal. Okay, photovoltaic, solar energy is converted into electrical energy. Here, photoconduction, nothing but the LDR. In the say clock. So based on the electrical light on that LDR, the resistance of that LDR will change. Based on the light, the resistance is changed. Okay, and the clock will give the say alarm. So during night time, there is no sunlight, so your clock will not give you a say alarm or bell. Okay, so when the sun rises, okay, so daylight is there, there is a conversion by using LDR. Okay, so these are the various principles which convert the physical quantity into the electrical. Next is a analog and digital. Analog transducer. So these transducers convert the input quantity into an analog output, which is a continuous function of time. Okay, so with respect to time, okay, so at every fraction of second or at every microsecond or nanosecond of the time, we get the change in the physical quantity. Okay, and it is a continuous output. So at every nanosecond, microsecond, what is the physical quantity? That physical quantity is converted into the electrical one, and we get the continuous output. Okay, so here strain gauge, LVDT, thermocouple, and or say RTD. So these are the devices which give the continuous output, or the measurement of speed, measurement of acceleration, measurement of flow. The output of these devices is a continuous. Okay, so they are called as a analog transducers. Digital transducer. These transducers convert the input quantity into an electrical output, which is in the form of pulses. Okay, so it is a pulse. So there is a step increment. Okay, so at this instant, so it changes its output from 0 to its maximum value. Okay, so without any delay, or it decreases its output from high to low. Okay, so output is in terms of pulse. That is called as a digital transducer. Okay, so glass scale can be read optically by means of light source. Okay, or the optical system. Okay, photocells, encoders. Okay, so these devices, the output of these devices, this is in terms of pulses. Okay, so encoder. Okay, so there are three pulses, A, B, C, D, three different pulses. Okay, and these pulses, okay, so they are compared whether with respect to another pulse. Okay, so based on that, so we can say decide the whether motor is or that machine is rotating in the forward direction or in the reverse direction. Okay, so A, B, C, D, they are compared, and based on the rate of these pulses, okay, so we can measure the speed of that device. Okay, so here there is another example. There is a light source, and on this opaque disc, so there are holes. There are holes. Okay, and at the another end of the disc, okay, so light sensor is there. Okay, so between the light source and light sensor, so this disc is rotating, and this sensor will generate the pulses. It will generate the pulses. Okay, as the speed is more, so the pulse generation rate is more. Okay, so based on the pulse rate, so we can measure the speed. Okay, so there are analog and digital transducers. Then transducers and inverse transducers. Okay, a transducer can be broadly defined as a device which convert a non-electrical quantity into an electrical quantity. Into the electrical quantity. So they are called as a transducer. Okay, so based on the different principles, resistive, inductive, capacitive. Okay, so they convert the physical quantity into the electrical one, or based on the transaction principle, they convert physical quantity into the electrical quantity. These devices, they are called as a transducer. Next is an inverse transducer. An inverse transducer is defined as a device which convert an electrical quantity into a non-electrical quantity. Okay. So for this piezoelectric crystal, when we apply the voltage, okay, so there are vibrations in this piezoelectric crystal. Okay, so this is called as a inverse transducer. This is called as a inverse transducer. Then based on this transductions principle, okay, now we see the resistive, inductive and capacitive transducers, how they work. The resistive transducer can be defined as the resistance of a transducer can be changed due to the effect of environment, okay, or the surrounding. Okay. So there is a change in the resistance. This change in the resistance is measured, and which will convert this physical quantity into the electrical signal. Okay. So here the resistance change can be calculated with the help of measuring device like AC or DC. Okay. So these transducers work on the principle of the length of conductor, which is directly proportional to the conductor's resistance, and it is inversely proportional to the conductor's area. As we know, the resistance R is equal to rho L by A. Okay. So rho is the resistivity of material. It remains constant, but with the change in the length, with the change in the cross-sectional area of that conductor, there is a change in the resistance. Okay, there is a change in the resistance. The transducer's resistance can be changed because of the exterior environmental factor as well as the conductor's physical property. Okay, and that change is measured in terms of resistance. So there is an example of RTD, resistance temperature detector. Okay, so this will detect the temperature, or this will measure the temperature. Okay, so they are generally used in a bridge circuit configuration, as we say, we discuss in the strain gauge. Okay, so there is a resistive element. Okay. So this resistive element which will absorb the heat, or this will get heated because of the environmental temperature around this RTD. Okay. And the resistance of this element is a change. The resistance of this element is okay, and this element is connected in the bridge. Okay. So as R1, R2, R3, these are the fixed resistance, and this RTD will act as a variable resistance. Okay. And on these two opposite terminals, the DC supply voltage is connected. Based on your say device, AC or DC supply is connected, and at the another end, opposite terminal, the deflection is measured. Okay. So in this way, the change in the resistance is measured by using this bridge. Okay. And this temperature, by using this RTD sensor, we get the electrical, or we get the proportional output voltage, proportional to the temperature measured by the RTD. So this is the resistive transducers. There are various applications of these resistive transducers. They include potentiometer. Okay. So in the robotics application, with this change in the resistance, we can measure the angular displacement, strain gauge, thermistor. Okay. Thermistor, again, there is a positive temperature coefficient, negative temperature coefficient thermistors are there. So these are semiconductor devices. Okay. So as temperature increases, the resistance of this thermistor is changes. Okay. Again, we can measure the change in resistance. Okay. Resistance thermometers. Okay. So they are used for the measurement of temperature. They are used for the measurement of displacement. They are used for the measurement of pressure, measurement of force. Okay. Next is the inductive transducers. So in inductive transducers, the basic principle is that self-inductance or of a single coil, or the mutual inductance between the two coils is a change by the quantity to be measured is measured. So based on the change in the inductance, if there is a single coil, that is called as a self-inductance. If there are two coils, then we measure the mutual inductance between the two coils. So that is called as a inductive transducers. Okay. So here we measure the inductance. Usually the measurand could be a rotary or linear displacement. The force, pressure, torque, velocity, acceleration and vibration. Okay. So these physical quantities can be measured by using this inductive transducers. So they are self-generating type. Otherwise, the passive type transducers are. Okay. So they are available in both self-generating or the passive. Okay, active or passive. The first type, like self-generating, uses the principle of fundamental electrical generator. Okay, electrical generator. Tachometer. Tacho generator for the measurement of speed. Tacho generator. Okay. So for 6000 RPM, this tacho generator is designed in such a way that at 6000 RPM, it is giving 300 volt DC output. 300 volt DC output. Okay. Then, if the speed is decreases, so its output voltage will be. Okay. And if this is used for the measurement of speed for 1500 RPM. Okay. So it will give a 75 volt DC output for 1500 volt DC output, and we set this 75 volt in the closed loop system as a set point, and as there is a change in the process, there is a change in the speed, so it will give the variable voltage, okay, based on or proportional to the speed, okay. And this voltage is compared with this 75 volt, and this 75 volt, it will generate the error signal, and this error signal is given to the VFD, variable frequency drive, and based on this error signal, it will generate the PWM pulses, and it will maintain the rated voltage, or it will increase the voltage, so that the motor will rotate at 1500 RPM. At this 1500 RPM, so a tacho generator will give you a 75 volt output, and this 75 volt as a feedback or process variable is compared with the set point. When this 75 volt is subtracted from the set point, so your error is 0, okay, error is 0. As the load on this motor is increases, again the speed reduces or speed decreases. As speed decreases, your output speed is also decreases, then your 75 volt output of tacho generator decreases, again it is compared with the set point 75 volt, error signal is generated, okay. So in this way, this self generating or the active transducer tacho generator, inductive type transducer is used to maintain the speed, constant speed of the process, okay. An inductive transducer is an electrical device used to convert physical motion into a modified within the inductor, okay. So there are two kinds of inductive transducers available, such as a simple inductance and two coil mutual inductance. So here the best example is a LVDT. The best example of inductive transducer is a LVDT, okay. And the equation of inductance is equal to N square mu A by L, as you studied in the first year. So L is equal to N square mu A by L, okay. So here this A by L is a G, geometric form factor, okay. So the cross sectional area of this coil and the length of this coil, it is a fixed, okay, it is a fixed. And say mu is a permeability of the medium, mu is a permeability of the medium, okay. So based on this permeability of the medium, the linkage of flux, they will change, okay. So in this case, as the plunger, metallic plunger, it will move say in the upward or downward direction, okay. So the linkage of flux of this primary coil and the secondary coil, they will change, okay, okay. So because of this plunger, the linkage of flux, they will change, okay. The linkage of flux with the n number of turns, they will change, okay. And the L1 and L2, the inductance of this primary coil, inductance of this secondary coil, it will change, okay. And this L1 and L2 will change the mutual inductance, between the primary and secondary coil, okay. And this mutual inductance can be changed by varying the self inductance or by varying the coefficient of coupling, okay. So with this change in the mutual inductance, there is a change in the output voltage, okay. So when this plunger is at the center, okay, it is at the center, So there is a L1 inductance of the primary coil. As it moves in the upward direction, so N number of turns or the self inductance because of the permeability, because of the linkage of flux with this plunger and the coil, it will change. Okay, as it will move in the upward direction, so this secondary flux linkages or inductance of this coil will change. Okay, so as there is a change in the L1 and L2. Okay, so with this change, your output voltage will be generated. Output voltage will be changed. Okay, so when it will move in the upward direction, so it will give a positive voltage. When it will move in the downward direction, so you will get the negative voltage. Okay, so this secondary winding is equally divided into two parts to measure the plus minus displacement of the tool post. Okay, so it is used for the measurement of this displacement of the tool post. Okay, so on the CNC machine or on the lathe machine. Okay, so this LVDT is placed and this moving plunger is connected with the tool post. So it will convert this displacement of tool post in terms of voltage. Okay, so here there is another example. There are two coils L1, L2, and between these two coils at the center the ferrous diaphragm is placed. Okay, and this is a closed pipe is there, and as the pressure in this pipe is increased, so this diaphragm will move in the upward direction. Okay, so there is a change in the mutual inductance between this L1 and diaphragm, L2 and diaphragm. Okay, so in this way we can measure the pressure, we can measure the displacement. Okay. Next is a capacitive transducer. The capacitive transducer is used for measuring the displacement, pressure and other physical quantities. Okay. So as we discussed about the resistive transducer, inductive transducers. Okay, so from that I think you will get the idea what is a capacitive or how it works. Okay, so it is a passive transducer, that means it requires the external power for the operation. So here we measure the change in the capacitance. Okay, so the capacitive transducer works on the principle of variable capacitance. The capacitance of the capacitive transducer changes because of many reasons like overlapping of plates, change in the distance between the plates and dielectric force. C is equal to epsilon r epsilon 0 A upon B. So there is a change in the area, change in the distance between the two plates, or change in the dielectric constant. Okay, so the equation below express the capacitance between the plates of a capacitor. Okay, so C is equal to epsilon 0 epsilon r A upon D. Okay, so A is the overlapping area of plates in meter square. D is the distance between two plates in a meter. Epsilon is the permittivity of the medium in F farad per meter. Okay, epsilon r relative permittivity, epsilon 0 is a permittivity of free space. Okay, so here as the plate, one plate is fixed, another plate is attached with the moving arrangement. Okay, so if there is a displacement say on the left and right side, so the cross-sectional area, overlapping cross-sectional area is changed. As there is a change in the area, the capacitance will change. Okay, then here one plate is fixed, another plate is moved in up and down position. So the distance between the two plates, area is fixed. In this case, area is fixed. The distance between the two plates, it is changed. So 1 upon d, that is a change with capacitance. Okay. Then these two plates, they are fixed, but this dielectric medium between two plates, it is a change. Okay. So this is one example by which we can measure the displacement, by which we can measure the pressure or force, okay, by which we can measure the displacement. Okay. So here there is one arrangement. Okay. So there is a rear cavity for the transmission. There is a insulating material. Okay. This is a static plate and this is a deflected diaphragm. Okay. This is a normal position of this diaphragm. Okay. So when the pressure is get applied on this diaphragm, okay, so the dielectric medium between these two plates, okay, so this dielectric material, it will change its mu r, mu 0. Okay. So based on this change in mu r, mu 0, so capacitance will change so that we can measure the pressure. Okay. So again, this is a here there is a linear displacement. Here one plate is fixed, another plate is moved in the angular direction. Okay. So this is the overlapping area. So as area is changed, so we can measure the capacitance. Here there is a liquid measurement. These are the two plates, and between these two plates, this liquid dielectric, the level of liquid dielectric changes. Okay, so here we are measuring mu r, mu 0, and we can measure the level of liquid. Okay. So these are the applications of capacitive transducers. Now we'll see the characteristics or requirement. What are the basic requirements of the transducers? Okay, or what characteristics must possess by the transducers? Okay, so these are some common characteristics or common terms used to define the performance of sensor: accuracy, resolution or sensitivity, repeatability, linearity, range, response time, stability and reliability. Okay. So the transducer must possess all these characteristics, or it must have all these characteristics. So what is accuracy? Accuracy is the extent to which the value indicated by a measurement system or element might be wrong. Okay. The error of a measurement is the difference between the result of the measurement and the true value of the quantity being measured. So accuracy is the error of the measurement. Okay. So percentage of instrument full scale reading. Okay. So this instrument which is having a full scale from 0 to 5 volt. 0 is minimum, 5 volt is a maximum full scale range of that meter. Okay. Thus an accuracy of plus minus 0.5% of full scale. 0.5% of full scale. Okay. Percentage for 100%. So there may be a 0.5% on plus side, means 100.5 or 99.5 on the minus side, on the negative side. Okay, for full scale. So it is given in terms of percentage, and from this plus minus 0.5 percentage, what is the error for 5 volt? Okay, so the inaccuracy or uncertainty in any measurement is plus minus 0.025 volt for this 5 volt full scale there may be a plus 0.025 volt or minus 0.025 volt. Okay. So errors can arise in a number of ways, okay, because of say non-linearity error or the hysteresis. Then the resolutions or sensitivity that indicates how much the output of an instrument, system or system element changes when the quantity being measured change by a given amount. Okay, that is ratio of output upon input. Means if there is a slight increase in the temperature, okay, so that should be noted by this transducer, okay, or based on that slight change in the temperature your output should be generated in proportional to the change in the input. Okay, so this used for the system that steps through reading. This is the smallest increment that the sensor can detect. This may also be incorporated into the accuracy. Okay. So there is a example of sensitivity. If there is a change in a temperature by 1 degree centigrade, okay, so for the change in this 1 degree centigrade, your output is increased or changed by 20 microvolt. 20 microvolt. Okay. So 20 microvolt is very small quantity. Okay. But if there is a 0.5 degree centigrade change, so it will give you a 10 microvolt output. Okay. And so give an output of 20 microvolt for each 1 degree change in the temperature. Okay. So that is called sensitivity or resolution. Okay. Means smallest increment that should be noted, that should be read by the transducer. If a sensor measures up to a 10 inch, okay, means there is a displacement from 0 to 10 inch, okay, of linear displacement, and it outputs a number between 0 to 10. Okay. So this displacement is converted on the scale of 0 to 100. Then what is the resolution of that device? Okay. So this 10 divided by 100. Okay. So 0.1 inch is a resolution. Or the least count of that scale. Okay. Repeatability is used for the ability of a measurement system to give the same value for repeated measurements of the same value of a variable. Okay. So common cause of lack of repeatability are random fluctuations in the environment. Example, change in the temperature and humidity. So based on the environmental changes, if there is a change in the humidity, okay, so your air pressure should be same in the rainy season, it should be same in the summer season. Okay, so that is called as a repeatability. There should not be a change of humidity on the repeatability of that transducers. Okay. The error arising from repeatability is usually expressed as a percentage of the full range output. Okay. So for example, if the flow rate sensor has a repeatability of 0.5 CFM cubic feet meter, readings of an actual flow of 100 cubic feet meter should rarely be outside 99.5 CFM to 100 CFM. So based on the change of temperature. Okay, so there is a change in the viscosity of that liquid, and because of this change in the viscosity of that liquid, there should not be a effect on the repeatability of that transducer. Okay, a pressure sensor might be quoted as having a repeatability of plus minus 0.1% of full range, thus with the range of 20 kilopascal. This would be an error of plus minus 20. So, in case of RTD, okay, if the environmental temperature is changed, so because of that environmental temperature, the resistance of that material will change with the increase in the temperature during summer. During say winter, the environmental temperature is less. Okay, so it will affect on the resistance of that RTD material. Okay, so this environmental change should not affect on the resistance of that RTD. Okay, and it will give the same reading, same change in the temperature during summer, during winter. Okay, so that is called as a repeatability. Linearity. In a linear sensor, the output phenomena has a linear relationship with the output series. In most sensors, this is a desirable feature. Okay, means there should be a proportionality relation. As your temperature increases, say your thermistor, it must give the output in proportional to the increase in the temperature. Okay, so why this characteristics is required? From this linearity characteristics, and we have to establish the relation between the physical quantity and the electrical signal. Okay, if there is a linear relation, so the designing of this controller is a somewhat difficult. Okay, so when the relationship is not linear, the conversion from sensor output, example voltage, to be calculated quantity, example force, become more complex. Okay, so the setting on the controller or designing of the controller, it is somewhat complex. Okay, so there should be a linear relation between physical quantity input and the electrical output. Okay. Range of variable of a system is the limits between which the input can vary. Okay, so natural limits for the sensor. Okay. For example, a sensor for reading angular rotation may only rotate 200 degrees centigrade. Okay, and for your say robotic action or for your robotic arm, you have to measure the angular displacement of 250 degrees centigrade. Okay, so your device should have the range in such a way that it can measure the 360 degree rotation. Okay, it can measure the 360 degree rotation. Okay. But because of some mechanical construction, okay, or because of some design of that equipment, okay, so there are some limitations. Okay, so that is called as a range. A resistance temperature sensors might be quoted as having a range of minus 200 to plus 800 degrees centigrade. Okay, and if we have to measure the 1500 degrees centigrade, okay, so this device or this range is not suitable. Okay, so we have to select the another device which is having higher temperature range. Okay, so these devices must have the large range for the measurement of physical quantity or physical parameter. Okay. Then response time. When the output value to a sensor changes, so it will take some time to reach and settle down to the steady state. Okay. The response time is the time which elapses after the input to a system or element is abruptly increased from 0 to a constant value up to the point at which the system or element gives an output corresponding to some specified percentage. Okay. Here there is a change in the physical parameter, okay, and that physical parameter is converted into the electrical signal. So it will take some time. So there are say because of the inertia in this system or in the transducer. Okay, so output is increases. Okay, then again it is decreases. Okay, so there are some oscillations, and after die down these oscillations, so you will get the steady state reading. And meanwhile, during this time, again physical input parameter changes. So it will take again some time to settle down the output at the steady state. Okay. So in this case, we cannot get the instantaneous response of the physical quantity. So we can easily see such a response when the current in an electrical circuit is suddenly switched on and an ammeter reading is observed. Okay. So there should be a quick response without any delay. Nowadays we are going for a real time system, as there is a change in the physical quantity. Okay. So through the SCADA system, that change should be noted in the process. Okay, it should be read by the process. Okay, and accordingly that control variable should be generated and it is sent to the signal. Okay, to get the set output or to get the desired output. Okay, if there is a delay, okay, so all these parameters, they will affect the quality of the product. Okay. Stability of a system is its ability to give the same output when used to measure a constant input over a period of time. Okay. So that term is called also called as a drift. Okay, it is also called as a drift. It is often used to describe the change in the output that occurs over a time. Occurs over a time. Means the output of this system is constant. System is constant. Okay, and there should not be a change in the output of that transducer. Okay. So your physical quantity is constant. So your transducer must give the same output, same constant output, same stable output. Okay. So without any drift or without any change in the output electrical signal. The drift may be expressed as a percentage of full range output. The term zero drift is used for the changes that occurs in the output when there is a zero. Okay. If there is a zero input, still we are getting some output. Okay. So that is called as a zero drift. Okay. So after studying the transducers, types of transducers and the characteristics of transducers, okay, so the learning outcome of this lecture is, so from the process, so you can describe what is the function of transducers in the automation, in the process, in the closed loop system. Okay. Then you can able to classify the transducers based on their working principle, based on their operation, based on their requirement of supply. Okay. So you can able to classify these transducers, and from the basic requirement or from the basic characteristic, based on your application, you can select the correct transducers based on the characteristics of the transducer. Okay. So these are the learning outcomes, and thank you for your patience listening.